How are
Good
you?
morning. Thank you all for joining. We'll just give one moment to clear the waiting room and make sure that folks have connected to audio.
Perfect.
As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please do remain on mute unless or until you are speaking or providing testimony before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman of the Board, Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. Thank you, Danny. My name is Kathleen Joyce, Chair of the Boston Licensing Board, also joined today by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon.
Thank you. Please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the applicant. You'll make a brief presentation regarding your proposal, followed by questions by the chair and commissioners. Following questions, there will be an opportunity for testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives. For members of the general public wishing to provide testimony, please limit your testimony to 2 minutes, and please state your name, address, and affiliation, if any. And just one brief revision to this morning's agenda. Items number 7, 8, and 9 concerning Treehouse Brewing Company will not be heard this morning. They will be continued to a later hearing date in December. So for anybody looking to testify on those 3 items, they will be heard at a later date with a revised description. With that, we will start with the first item on this morning's agenda, calling item number 1, 107 Salem Restaurant, Inc., doing business as Baco, located at 107 Salem Street. Holder of a common victular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business from Vina DePaolo to Dario Daniel Buben Garcia, who is present on behalf of the applicant.
Correct.
Great. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. Chairman Driss, I don't know if you want to go over the manager of record questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Are you a citizen?
Correct. I'm a U.S. citizen.
You're a U.S. citizen?
I am, yes.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see you there. Are you a resident of Massachusetts?
Correct.
And what is your experience in the food and beverage industry?
I am the actual owner of this company. This was inherited from my dad, and I've been around this business for as well since my early days, since I can remember. So it's more of taking the spot now and trying to lead the company
Okay.
with help, obviously.
Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of our board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth pertaining to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I have no questions. Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon?
No questions for me, thank you.
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Seeing none, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you for being with us. Calling item number 2, 99 Restaurants of Boston, LLC, doing business as 99 Restaurant and Pub, located at 29 to 31 Austin Street in Charlestown. Holder of a common victular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business from Joshua Robert Davis to Brian Ciucciolo, who is present on behalf of the applicant.
Hello, yes, I'm Brian Ciucciolo.
You.
Morning, thanks for joining us today. Are you a citizen?
Yes.
Are you a resident of Massachusetts?
Yes, I am.
What is your experience in the food and beverage industry?
I've been in the food and beverage industry for 30 years now, including 22 years with the 99.
All right, thank you. Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of our board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. I have no other questions. Commissioners, do you?
I do not. Thank you.
None from me, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter? The board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Calling item number 3, MWGW Carver Grand Lodge, Inc., located at 70 to 80 Talbot Ave in Dorchester. Holder of a club all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business from Richard Lee Felton to Glenn Williams, and secondly, has petitioned for a change of officers and directors. Who's present on behalf of the applicant?
Glenn Williams and Ronald Cook.
Thank you. I'm sorry, one second. Okay, thank you. Are you a citizen?
Yes, I am.
Are you a resident of Massachusetts?
Yes, I am.
What is your experience in the food and beverage industry?
I've worked in the food and beverage industry around Talbot Avenue for the last 10, 12 years.
Okay. And are you familiar with the rules and regulations of our board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, and so have you worked here for that many years?
I'm sorry.
Have you worked at the Carver Lodge for you said previously you've worked in this area. Have you worked here?
Yes. I'm currently here as the
Okay.
president of the organization.
You are.
Plus, I have also worked around here in the last, like I said, 10 or 12 years.
Okay. And in addition to the change in manager of record, you're also changing the officers and directors, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I have no further questions. Commissioners, do you?
I do not. Thank you.
None from me, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter?
No, thank you.
Great. Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Calling item number 4, DW French LLC, doing business as Mita, located at 1391 Boylston Street. Holder of a common victualler 7-day all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to amend the description of the licensed business from 4,476 square feet of interior floor area, including 3,397 square feet on the first floor, with main dining area, bar, and bar area seating, an 845 square foot first floor kitchen, 1,079 square feet on second floor with 953 square foot second floor kitchen, storage in rear on first and second floors, office on second floor, 750 square foot seasonal April to October outdoor patio on private property, closing hour 11 p.m. 2, 4,276 square foot interior floor area, including 3,397 square feet on the first floor with main dining area, bar and bar area, kitchen and storage. There's 879 square feet on the second floor with kitchen and office space, 750 square foot seasonal April to October outdoor patio on private property, closing hour 11 p.m. Attorney Elizabeth Pisano. Attorney Pisano.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Elizabeth Pisano from Upton, Connell, and Devlin on behalf of the licensee, DW French, doing business as Mita, located at 1390 Boylston Street. With me today is Seth Gerber. He is one of the owners of the licensee and restaurant. This application is for a minor request to reduce the square footage of the licensed premise by 200 square feet by removing a storage area on the second floor mezzanine. The total square footage will go from 4,476 square feet to 4,276 square feet. The reasoning for this forfeiture is that the owners are investigating the potential use of a catering license in that space that will have nothing to do with this pouring license. We're just looking for the potential options to use this space for alternative reasons. And I am happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. How long have you been in this location?
Seth, can you answer that one?
A little over 12 months currently.
All right, thank you. I don't have any questions at this time. Commissioners, do you?
I don't. Thank you.
No questions from me, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives? Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 5, Rodan Inc. doing business as Beacon Capital Market located at 32 Myrtle Street. Holder of a retail package store all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to transfer the license from the above to Beacon Capital Markets Inc. doing business as Beacon Capital Market at the same location. Lalit Verma, manager, 11 p.m. closing hour. Secondly, the applicant has petitioned to pledge the license and inventory to Rodan Inc. Attorney Joseph Tarby. Attorney Tarby?
Yes, thank you. With me is Lalit Verma, who's the proposed manager and the sole owner of the Beacon Capital Market Incorporated. So we've applied for approval to transfer the license and a pledge of the license and inventory. The premises consist of approximately 1,185 square feet of first floor retail space. The business will continue to operate as Beacon Capital Market, and my client intends to operate the store similar to how it's operated for the past 108 years at this location. He'll continue to sell wine, spirits, malts, and convenience items. He's got a full compliance program in which all customers, regardless of age, will be carded. Anyone that comes in and everyone in a group will be carded that comes in to buy alcohol. All managers, cashiers will have tips training. He'll have a state-of-the-art ID scanning system and a video monitoring both inside and outside. My client has great experience in the liquor industry, actually approved by this board a couple of years ago, operating the Wild Duck Liquor Store on 86 Mass Ave in Boston. We believe he's got great experience, and there's not going to be any changes to the current operation at 32 Myrtle Street.
Thank you. So you're saying that, I believe what you're saying is that Mr. Verma has already been approved as manager of record by our board.
I didn't hear, you faded out at the end. You cut out.
I'm sorry, is he an approved manager of record by this board?
Yes, you were approved with Wild Duck.
With Wild Duck, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions. Commissioners, do you?
I do not, thank you.
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Could I have a letter from the current owner that if I could just read quickly into the record. So in 1916, the Goldberg brothers opened up a market located at 32 Myrtle Street, Boston. It was known then and is still known today as Beacon Capital Market, located on an interior residential street on Beacon Hill, a few blocks behind the State House. The three brothers operated it as a grocery market with a full package store liquor license. Almost 60 years later, the last surviving brother, who lived one street away, sold the store to my father, Daniel, in 1978. A few years later, I came on board to work with him, and shortly after that, he retired and sold the store to me. So for the past 100 plus years, the store has been in only two families, and during that time, I feel as though the store, at least in some small way, has become part of the fabric of the Beacon Hill neighborhood. And I believe that this applicant will continue that mom and pop tradition that those three Goldberg brothers started all those years ago. I feel this applicant, with all his experience, is a good fit for the store, and that the store is a good fit for him. This wonderful neighborhood deserves no less. Sincerely, Stuart Eichhoff, who is the current owner.
Thank you for that. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Board will take this under advisement. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Calling item number 6, Loconti's Boston Inc. doing business as Loconti's, located at 116 Salem Street. Holder of a common victular 7-day wines and malt beverages with liqueurs license has petitioned to transfer the license from the above to Brook Egg Farm Inc. doing business as Loconti's at the same location. Carla Loconti, manager, 11 p.m. closing hour. Attorney John Iacocca. Attorney Iacocca.
Good morning, Madam Commissioner and members of the board. I represent Carla and Chris Loconti and Brook Egg Farm Inc. We are here seeking the transfer of the license at Locanti's Restaurant at Salem Street from Locanti's Boston Inc. to Brook Egg Farm Inc. Collar and Chris are the owners of Brook Egg Farm Inc. have run the facility or the operation for the past 35 years. They're looking to have their license returned to them, and the business operations will remain the same as it is now. And they look forward to restoring the restaurant to its prior traditional and famous operations.
Okay. Ms. Locanti, are you an approved manager of record by this board?
Yes.
Already approved by us?
Uh,
Um,
Excuse me, yeah, Carla was a former manager of the operations before, yes.
All right, thanks. Just wanted to get it on the record. I don't have any questions. Commissioners, do you?
I do not, thank you.
None from me, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time, the Mayor's Office is to defer to the judgment of this board. Due to this being a transfer, our office did not require a full community process. We understand the proponent was very forthcoming and connected with NURA and NUNIC, the active civics in this area. We're unaware of any concerns at this time. I'd like to defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. As stated at the top of the hearing, items 7, 8, and 9 will be heard at a later date. Moving on to item number 10, Pinellas Kitchen, Inc., doing business as Mango Dominican Bistro, located at 264 Hyde Park Ave in Jamaica Plain, has applied for a common victular 7-day wines and malt beverages license to be exercised on the above 984 square foot restaurant on one floor with one entrance and two exits, dining area with seating for 18 in the front, kitchen area and restroom in the rear, basement level for storage and walk-in cooler, which is only accessible to the employees. Manager Ingrid Pinellas-Avalo, closing time 9 p.m. Attorney Jen Allen. Attorney Allen?
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Jennifer Allen, on behalf of the Pinellas Kitchen, doing business as Mango Dominican Bistro, in their request for the license. Wesker Pinellas is 100% stockholder, and Ingrid Pinellas is the proposed manager. Both are also logged in the meeting in case you have any questions for them. The restaurant has been well established in the neighborhood for over 2 decades, in which Wesker and Ingrid took over approximately 6 or 7 years ago. There are no other Dominican restaurants in close proximity, and they already went through this process in July of 2021, in which they were granted a beer and wine license by the city licensing board, but none of them ever came available, which is why we're here today, now reapplying. Wesker and Ingrid are both experienced in the alcohol and food service industry. They're both Massachusetts residents and U.S. citizens and are tip certified. Ingrid, the proposed manager, has over a decade of experience working at her father's restaurant, managing the bar prior to being at Mango Dominican Bistro. She is extremely familiar with the rules of the ABCC and is the City of Boston licensing. Her qualifications and experience in this field will ensure the sustainability of the restaurant and the ability to keep serving their customers responsibly while allowing them to enjoy a drink with their Dominican food. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer any. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Pinellas for joining us again. I know you were before us in July of 2021. At this time, I have no questions. Commissioners, do you?
I do not, thank you.
None from me, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time, the Mayor's Office is to defer to the judgment of this board. Our office conducted a butters meeting, and then as previously referenced, the applicant had met with the Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Council as well as the Public Service Committee of the JPNC. Both were supportive when this process was also held years prior. We're unaware of any concerns at this time. With that, we'd like to defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify? I see a hand raised from Michael Reiskind. Mr. Reiskind, you may please go ahead.
My name is Michael Reiskind. I live at 425 South Huntington Avenue in Jamaica Plain, a member of the Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Council and chair of its Public Service Committee. We held a neighborhood hearing on this issue in July 12th, 2022, actually. And after discussion, we supported this request. The request was granted in July of 2022 by the licensing board pending availability of a license. So we ask you to support it again. This is a great restaurant in a location that has very few restaurants. They're well run, and they've been established for a long time as a Dominican restaurant in this location. So we think this is appropriate and deserves a beer and wine license. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Calling item number 11, Seaport Innovation Center Hospitality LLC, located at 75 Northern Ave, has applied for a common victual or 7-day all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised on the above 12,000 square feet indoors, 2,900 square feet outdoors. The building at 75 Northern Ave is a single-story ground level building with multiple event spaces that function as dining rooms as well as a restaurant. The restaurant has a seated bar and various dining areas. The event space portion of the building is comprised of one large semi-enclosed room with communal seating and a seated bar cafe, 3 smaller private dining event rooms, and one large enclosed event space capable of being subdivided into 3 smaller rooms. Additional kitchen, restrooms, team office, and storage areas, together with 3 seasonal April to November outdoor patios on private property. Interior closing hour 2 a.m., patio closing hour 11 p.m. Manager Rebecca Louise Donner, closing time 2 a.m. Attorney Dennis Quilty. Attorney Quilty.
Good morning, Attorney Green, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dennis Quilty, attorney, excuse me, representing the applicant. Before you this morning with us is the proposed manager of record and the previous manager of record at this location, Rebecca Donner, and also Yanni Sippis from WS Development, who are the property owner. Just a little bit of history, if I may. Approximately 10 or 11 years ago, maybe as far as 12 years ago, this building was created to be an innovation center in the then brand new and mostly under development parking lots that dotted the now Seaport neighborhood, which is so lively and so much a part of the city culture. This building, this entity was created to be an engine for the growth that we see today. This was at the time a one-of-a-kind operation in that it provided space and programming for innovators of every variety to gather, talk, discuss, and develop their plans. And at the time, there was a licensed entity, which was actually I represented them at the time. One of the Breyer Group licenses was placed here for use at functions, restaurant use, function use, private event use, public event use, etc. That lease term came to a close in 2023. The license has been removed from the premises. It was never under the control of the property owner. And the space has sat vacant now since 2023. The desire here today and the request for one of these licenses is to resuscitate and bring back to life the concept that was created a dozen years ago to continue to be a center of innovation, thought, design, and forward thinking, if you will, in the Seaport area and the city in general. We think there is a stunning need for this kind of a incubator, if you will, to continue the growth that we see in the Seaport and throughout the city going forward. In addition to what we think are those benefits, we have provided to you a document entitled Summary of Space Donation Commitment at the Center. I will leave it to Mr. Sippis, who I'd like to introduce, to describe that more fully and to describe a bit more fully the history of this location and why we believe that because of this use, it serves a great public purpose and public need and is therefore a viable, if you will, entity for the issuance of one of these new licenses. Just by way of a little background, we did have an abutters meeting on October 9th. We met with the Seaport Neighborhood Association and made outreach to the local elected officials in preparation for being before you today. So if I may just ask Mr. Sippis to introduce himself and take a moment to further define the use and specifically the space donation commitment that they are making at this site. If that's acceptable, Madam Chair. Thank you. Mr. Sippis, introduce yourself, please.
Great. Thank you very much, Dennis. Thank you very much, Madam Chair and members of the board. Yanni Sippis with WS Development. We are the owners of the Seaport Innovation Center building, formerly known as District Hall, located on Block F of the Seaport Square project. And we just wanted to share a little bit of background on the application to inform today's proceeding. Because like when we built this building, we and our partners built this building back in 2013, it was a total experiment. No one knew at the time what a civic innovation building was. No one knew what it would become, and certainly no one knew what a what a beloved hub of the Seaport neighborhood it would turn into over the first 10 years of its operation. It really grew into a very important part of the neighborhood's kind of civic fabric and a critical part of the city's and the region's innovation ecosystem. There was at the time, and today there remains nothing like it. And we've learned a lot over the first 10 years of its operation. And so today we want to take this place that was built, again, a little over 10 years ago, kind of on a shoestring budget as an experiment, and also was operated with a number of constraints that you'll hear about in a moment. Constraints on the amount of kind of community-sponsored programming that we could do in the building. And we want to turn it into something that's even more welcoming and vibrant and public, that can sort of finally realize its full potential while carrying forward and honoring the sort of the civic mission that the building had when it was first built. And so we're ready to begin a multi-million-dollar upgrade to the building that's going to allow us to host more public events and programs, better quality programs, provide more staffing, better infrastructure to support the mission, and kind of write the next chapter of this really important place. And that, being poised to be ready to begin that reinvention kind of brings us to today. The new citywide license that we've applied for would catalyze all of that vision and activity. For the last 10 years, as Attorney Quilty mentioned, we had a restaurant in the building. They had a license. They and their license have since moved on. That brings us to here. And I would just say that we, for the board's benefit, we fully recognize how valuable and scarce these new licenses are, and what a privilege it would be to receive one. And so in connection with our application, we wanted to be upfront in making a commitment to donate $600,000 worth of space rentals in the new building, or in the renovated building, specifically to local nonprofits and community organizations within the newly renovated space, to really demonstrate on a very direct basis how this new license would benefit a very diverse range of community-facing programs and activities put on by local nonprofits and community organizations in furtherance of their respective missions and civic activities. So this is truly kind of putting our money where our mouth is when we talk about our commitment to community and continuing and expanding the civic mission of what's become a very special place through its next iteration. And, in addition to being ready to start construction, we're also very excited to have already started building a team to operate the new facility, which we will do, starting with a familiar face to us. That's Becky Donner, who served as the director of the building, which at the time it was known as District Hall, during its formative years. And since that time has worked in private practice in the civic innovation sector in the area, before recently agreeing to join our Seaport team and leading this building into the future. And we just wanted to introduce Becky to say a few words today as well. Madam Chair, if that's acceptable.
Yeah, thank you. And go right ahead, Becky.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time. It's a pleasure to be here. So as Yanni shared, I've had the pleasure of managing this building twice now, once from 2015 to 2018 under the previous third-party operator, and again now with the incredible WS team. I know firsthand the impact that this building has had over its first decade of operations, and it's a privilege to be a part of the next decade as well. For those of you who might not be familiar with the building formerly known as District Hall opened in 2013 primarily as an amenity for the city's innovation economy, providing flexible co-working and gathering space for entrepreneurs and startups. As Yanni mentioned, when this building was first built, it stood pretty much alone in the seaport, but over time it's become the beating heart of the neighborhood. Most innovation and co-working spaces actually require membership. They're hidden behind security desks or elevator banks, or you need to know where they are to find them. This building was designed to be different and really a welcoming facility for all. The building is a first of its kind community hub and is actually the world's first freestanding civic innovation center. Here, guests can enjoy a coffee with a colleague in the lounge, book a private room for a meeting, attend a networking event, or host their own function. In its first decade of operations, with, as Yanni said, minimal resources, this little 12,000 square foot powerhouse of a building hosted over 9,000 events and over 700,000 visitors from across the globe. The 4,000 plus clients who hosted events there hosted all kinds of events from meetings, galas, pitch nights, networking events, conferences, social events, live broadcasts, and more. The building even functioned as the neighborhood polling station before closing for renovations and will again when we reopen. As we look to the successes of this building over the last 10 years, we also recognize the opportunity in the next 10 years. The Seaport neighborhood has grown exponentially since the building first opened, and with it, the needs have shifted, as has our understanding of how to best support both innovation and community missions. It's important to note that the original focus of the building was more purely innovation, which was codified by the BRA restrictions on the kinds of events that the facility could host in its first 10 years. This innovation classification often didn't stretch to include community groups, which didn't fall under that innovation designation, or nonprofits, something which I saw firsthand as director and which made it a lot more difficult to support them in our civic mission. Now that those restrictions have expired, we're able to focus on a much more diverse range of programs and events and expand that civic mission. In terms of what the future looks like, renovations will include a more comfortable and welcoming free public lounge, modernized meeting spaces, new and improved AV and meeting tech to enable more connection and collaboration. The programming will focus on high quality signature events designed to support both the local innovation economy and our local community. As Yanni shared, we've made a significant commitment to donate space to community organizations and nonprofits citywide, and the application before you would really unlock that commitment. We are really looking forward to sharing the next chapter of this incredible building with you, and thank you for your consideration. We look forward to seeing you there when it opens.
And Madam Chair, I may have misspoken about Ms. Donner's background as a manager of record. She managed the property. Becky, I don't believe you were a manager of record under the prior, no. But she is a U.S. citizen, a Mass resident, and has years of experience in the operations of this particular facility. And we certainly present her to you as a viable candidate to be a manager of record. And I'm sorry I misspoke.
No problem. But I'll have to ask the last question. Are you familiar with our rules and regs of the board and the ABCC and the laws of the Commonwealth pertaining to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes.
Okay, great. So just so did you say it's 600 square feet of space that's being donated to the community?
$600,000 worth of space to various, sizes, uses, et cetera. But there'd be a commitment to a $600,000 contribution.
Now, is that flexible space or is it a certain part of the floor plan? I'm just looking at it.
Yanni, I presume it could be anywhere.
It could be anywhere that's not already public. We're not trying to take credit for something that's already public, which would be the lounge area, but any of the conference or assembly or event spaces would be part of this. And the commitment is also over the first 3 years of operation. So this is not over an indefinite period of time. It's quite accelerated at the beginning of the next term of operation.
And if the summary letter indicates what kind of considerations will be made with regard to each applicant in terms of who they are, what they're doing, et cetera. Public benefits, public needs, which is all in that letter.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Let's see. I'll take a look at that letter again. I was just looking at the floor plan. That's helpful. I don't have any questions at this time. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you?
I think I'll wait for comments. Thank you.
No questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time, the Mayor's Office would defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information on the community process. As you heard from the applicant's representation, ONS held a butters meeting on October 9th. I understand there was no concerns raised. The applicant went on to connect with the Seaport Neighborhood Association. I understand during those conversations, there were some questions regarding, is there public need for a city-issued liquor license to be added to this location, but they were supportive of they liked the sound of the operation itself and what was being proposed. With that, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chairs and members of the board. Laura here from Consular Flynn's office. At this time, Consular Flynn, give me 1 second, sorry. At this time, Consular Flynn would like to go on record in support of this proposal. Sorry. However, Consular Flynn believes it is critical that the proponent, WS, do a better job on communicating process and communicating with the neighbors and elected officials moving forward. He respectfully requests that WS work with the community in a good faith on any quality of life issues that may come up later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon from Senator Collins' office. Senator is in full support of this application. They do great work for the community, and we appreciate them taking the time to explain everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Go ahead, Shane.
Good morning, Shane Perkins from Representative David Beal's office. He would also like to offer his support.
Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Are there any further questions from the board following the testimony? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Calling
you.
item number 12, LMPBTR LLC, doing business as Silver Dove Afternoon Tea, located at 18 Tremont Street, has applied for a common victular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised on the above in one room on ground floor, consisting of banquet seating, dining tables, and 2 beverage service stations, restrooms and kitchen towards rear, storage in basement, 1,148 square feet total. Manager Patrick Brewster. Closing time 10 p.m. Attorney Dennis Quilty. Attorney Quilty.
Good morning again, Attorney Green, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dennis Quilty, excuse me, attorney representing the licensee and applicant. With us this morning are the owners, Patrick Brewster and Lee Morgan. Mr. Brewster, as suggested, is the manager of record. This is an application for issuance of a new license. This is perhaps one of the more unusual and the best use of that term, licensees in the city. I don't think there's anything quite like this operation, Silver Dove Afternoon Tea, which has been a very exciting and popular full-service restaurant with prefix menus, seasonal menus, focus on teas and the like in the afternoon, and drinks to pair with food offerings. They seek a new license to allow them to have better offerings for beverages to pair with foods. This is a place which is extremely popular in the neighborhood. Their lunches, early dinners, early service hours have been terrifically popular. They see an opportunity to add to their menu selections by virtue of being able to have a full license. We think that they are the kind of small business that the legislature, the mayor, and the city intended when these licenses were proposed. As you know, given their location, basically in government center, they do not fit any of the zip code related categories. Therefore, the only license they would be viable for would be one of the 12 all alcohol licenses which are available throughout the city. We think that this is a viable use for a small business with a very distinct food service style, and this application will allow them to grow and prosper in that business. I would like to ask Mr. Brewster just to introduce himself and speak a bit more to the the food pairings and the uses currently being made at the establishment, Mr. Brewster?
Hello, yes.
And he is the present manager of record.
Yeah, I'm the current manager of record as well. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So my name's Patrick Brewster. Me and my business partner Lee Morgan opened Silver Dove Afternoon Tea. It will be 2 years ago in February. As Dennis said, it was kind of a unique concept. I don't think there's been a small independent tea room in Boston for quite some time. So we kind of went out on a limb and went for it, and the response has been absolutely overwhelming. Me and the other owner, Lee, we're hands-on small business owners. We're here taking tables every day. Just yesterday, we were in here repainting the walls ourselves, doing some much-needed maintenance. Our main competition right now in the afternoon tea scene is the Four Seasons on Dalton Street, the new Raffles Hotel, as well as the Tea Room in the Public Library, which is run by the Catered Affair. These are all either big multinational corporations or large restaurant groups with multiple concepts. We could never justify the price of a full liquor license for our small 1,000 square foot tea room if it weren't for this initiative. We're both experienced mixologists who were trained right here in Boston. We both cut our teeth at a bar called Drink, which is now closed, but it was nationally recognized at the time. At the height of our knowledge, we each knew hundreds of cocktail builds for classic and modern drinks, as well as fun facts about each one. This is a skill set that we can't fully tap into right now, and would be a huge value add to our customers if we could. Furthermore, as of now, we're the only dedicated gluten-free sit-down restaurant in Boston. We've made a name for ourselves in the gluten-free community, not just here locally, but also tourists visiting who are looking for a safe place to eat. Being able to offer a full suite of cocktails would truly be able for us to provide a first-class dining experience for that community who has no other guaranteed safe place to eat in the city right now. Those are all my comments right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Patrick. And we did, Madam Chair, we had an ONS Butters meeting on October 8th. That was the extent of the required community outreach given the location, which of course is just across from Center Plaza on Tremont Street. So we're happy to take any questions.
Thank you. So I may have missed it, but what is the capacity here?
24 people.
24.
Well, it's all seated, 24 seats.
It's reservation only right now.
Correct. We do squeeze in walk-ins from time to time when we're able to, but yeah, I'd say well over 80% is reservation only.
So how do you plan on expanding your menu with the all alcohol license? I know that you'll add alcohol to some of the drinks you offer on your menu, but beyond that, you talked about the food, you would expand the food as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, right now we're just limited on the beer, wines, and cordials to cocktails that kind of have a sweeter flavor profile, which just naturally don't pair as well with food. Typically you want drier cocktails. And then also just in terms of the afternoon tea experience being a very British type thing, a lot of people expect to have, for example, like a dry martini, which is something that we can't offer right now, or other classic drinks that we're just not able to provide that are part of the aesthetic of a traditional British afternoon tea service.
And what are the hours of operation?
We're open from 11 to 7. Our license does allow us to be open till 10, but we only stay open that late if we have a private event running late into the evening.
And how often do you have private events?
I would say that we have roughly 2 a month, but in the almost 2 years we've been open, we've never had one go to 10 o'clock. They've always been finished by 7.
How many employees do you have?
We have 5 full-time employees and 2 or 3 part-time employees at any given time.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions. I'll start with Commissioner Curran. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, is it the intention if you got this license that this business would be focused on cocktails? You mentioned, drink and it's national renown. Is that the idea here or what?
No, I wouldn't. No, I mean, the plan is to keep it as a British style tea room with the structured seatings. This is only to expand our possible cocktail menu. Yeah, that's our only plan at this time. We do maybe down the road have intention to add a private dining room, just because the demand has been overwhelming for our afternoon tea service, but we have no intention of changing the concepts. It's still intended to be a structured seating afternoon tea concept.
Space available or something?
Sorry, go ahead.
You have a potential adjacent space available to you?
Yeah, that's correct.
Attorney Quilty, you? Hi. I thought I saw you go off mute. Sorry.
No. I mean, obviously, this is.
Could you talk about that potential plan then? Actually, I'd like to know.
I mean, we're very early in the planning stages. I don't know exactly where it would go, but we get a lot of requests for things like birthday parties for kids, bridal showers, baby showers, things like that. And we do accommodate those events right now in our tiny space for 24 people. It's just not ideal because there's not really a good space to congregate. I don't know if you've ever seen a space, but it's very long and narrow. So we do the best we can. So we've kind of engaged in talks with the landlord about potentially taking some of the empty space next door. It is important, I think, for private events to be able to, especially if it's something like a wedding or a birthday, which we have had some micro weddings and things like that. It is important to offer a full suite of beverage options for events like that, just to be competitive. But like I said, that's down the road. I mean, we've just barely engaged in talks with our landlord about it. If we were to get this license now, we wouldn't change anything about our operation apart from updating the cocktail menu with drinks that have a more interesting flavor profile.
Okay, I may have more questions after comments, but nothing.
It's only because I am just unfamiliar with the British tea. Are you saying the alcohol is in the tea, or are people serving two? Are people asking for 2 different kinds of drinks? One is a tea and one is the alcohol.
Yeah, they ask for 2 different kinds of drinks. So right now, the food is a fixed menu. So it comes with 9 items of food per person. It comes with a scone, 4 savory canapes, and 4 sweets per person, and a pot of tea. So that's just kind of the basic service. And then people can add on alcoholic drinks if they want. Traditionally, champagne is a common accompaniment, but our cocktails have outsold any beer or wine that we've had, by a vast margin. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But to answer your question, yeah, everybody gets food and tea with their reservation, and then have the option to add on an additional alcoholic beverage if they choose.
Any further questions before we move to testimony? Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time, the Mayor's Office like to defer to the judgment of this board. As you heard from the applicant's representation, ONS hosted a butters meeting on October 8th. I believe there was no concerns raised in that meeting. It was lightly attended. They went on, there was no civic association blaming this particular portion of the city. So that completed the community process there. We're unaware of any community concerns at this time, with no letters of support or opposition. With that, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Any further questions from the board? Board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 13, Papare LLC, doing business as Papare Ristorante located at 358 to 364 Hanover Street, has applied for a particular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised on the above. The premises consists of 2 adjoining spaces totaling approximately 1,800 square feet. Space A at 364 Hanover Street in 1 room on ground floor containing dining area with approximately 24 seats, kitchen in rear, and basement with additional dining area with approximately 24 seats. And space B at 358 Hanover Street in 1 room on ground floor containing dining area with approximately 26 seats and bar with seating for 10, restrooms and basement for storage and prep area. Manager Frank Polino. Closing time 12 a.m. Attorney Bill Ferrulo. Attorney Ferrulo.
Good morning. Thank you, Attorney Green. Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. I represent Papare LLC, which will be doing business as Papare Ristorante. Actually, it will be the newest restaurant in the North End. We were here in front of the board this summer when we transferred a license to the premises, which was extremely well supported. Your file would indicate that more than 100 individuals, residents of North End, supported that application. We currently have this application supported by North End Waterfront Neighborhood Council, a local elected representative, and other members of the community. What has happened here is this was a rather old restaurant that was run down, did not have handicapped accessibility, and went out of business some time ago and had been vacant for a number of years. The Polinos, who are on this hearing as well, Karen Polino was the majority shareholder of this business, and her husband Frank purchased not only the real estate, but they purchased the assets of the business and so forth, renovated at great expense. That is still ongoing and will be completed. The Polinos have been in the restaurant business for approximately 40 years, starting in Marblehead for approximately 30 of those years, where they held all alcohol licenses without ever having any issues or problems in Marblehead. They've been active in the North End with 2 other restaurants, one of which they still own, Casarecci, which is on Hanover Street. This restaurant is more appropriate for all alcohol service than Casarecci, which is a smaller space. This will be newly renovated, as mentioned. We'll have a 10-seat bar. In the course of starting the restaurant, we purchased a beer, wine, and cordial license, which we agreed with the community that rather than operating a 2 o'clock license that it was, we rolled back the hours to midnight, which was very well accepted by the community. That will continue with this application for midnight closing. The restaurant generally closes earlier during the week, but on the weekends, business usually dictates that they stay open until that time. We are requesting this license primarily because as a new restaurant in this neighborhood, we believe that not only is there a demand by customers today, as you hear from other applicants, that cocktails have become a major part of dining out. They are supplanting service of beer and wine, and they're requested on a regular basis. So with the beer, wine, and cordial license, as this board knows, we're limited to what we can serve and how we can accommodate those guests. The Polinos, as I say, are on now, and they will answer any questions that you may have for them, and I'll answer any operational questions you may have.
Thank you, Attorney. Thank you, Mr. Polino, for joining us. Want to start, I don't know who wants to take this question, but again, could you describe for us what the public need is for another all alcohol license in this location on Hanover Street?
I think I can. this board made a determination, as I say, a couple of months ago, that there was a public need for this restaurant to operate at this space with the beer, wine, and cordial license. And the question becomes, is there a different test, a litmus test for all alcohol versus beer, wine, and cordial? I think part of that simply is the nature of the business today and the clientele. As I mentioned, as you heard from a last applicant, cocktails, crafted cocktails have become pretty much a standard in the business today, and that is what the public need dictates, meaning the service being an Italian restaurant. Yes, there are other Italian restaurants, but people don't go into one restaurant because they want an all alcohol drink and then go to the second restaurant because they like the pasta. So we believe that what serves the public need is to be able to serve the types of alcohol and beverage, excuse me, alcohol and beverage that the public is become much more familiar with these days, and is leaning much towards the cocktail service rather than the beer and wine service.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. So the beer and wine license that is there now, first of all, you're not open yet, are you?
That's correct. No, we're not.
The beer and wine license was purchased from the previous owner, correct?
No, it was from a different establishment in downtown Boston.
Okay. Excuse me, okay. I might have more questions. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Carn though.
I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
None from me, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify in this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, the Mayor's Office can defer to the judgment of this board. Our office had held a meeting in June, and the applicant went on to meet with the civic associations over the summer. Our office is unaware of any concerns at this time. With that, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter?
I'd like to speak.
Yep, go ahead.
Frank. Okay, I'm Frank Polino, the owner and operator, and I will just address the board. Thank you and good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My wife and I and my adult children, just emphasize that we're very responsible operators, tip certified, all that. I'm sure all the applicants are, but this location has been shut for 5 years. There've been broken windows, nobody was there, dark and gloomy, near the park. I went in there and we built this place up. We invested our own money, tears and sweats. For this place to be success, full alcohol license will really help that, because the financial hardships are pretty high, especially at the beginning. And so that would help that visual public need. Now, people coming in now, they want full alcohol, they want these cocktails. So you don't lose that percentage of customers. It is new. We have a bar, we are responsible. We go to midnight, but we'll probably close earlier during the week. We've also been responsible for never had any citation violation at the state, federal level of the ABCC. When I was in Marblehead, the ABCC did stings. I received twice 2 letters of recommendation applauding Polino's restaurant for seeing it was underage age to try to get alcohol. We cut them, we refused them. So it'll help overcome the financial hardships, and I believe the need is there. And you have a very, very responsible family-run restaurant of individuals that really care and will also just add to the greatness of this community. So I thank you, the board, for giving us consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Polino. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Are there any further questions from the board following testimony? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
I can excel.
Calling item number 14, Il Panino Inc., doing business as Il Panino, located at 11 Parmenter Street, has applied for a common victular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised on the above approximately 792 square feet on 2 floors with 1 entrance, 2 exits. First floor includes dining with approximately 20 seats, kitchen, restrooms, and stock in rear. Basement includes dining with approximately 24 additional seats, also to include approximately 544 square foot outdoor annual weather permitting patio on private property with a closing hour of 11 p.m. and approximately 48 seats. Manager Frank DePasquale, closing time 11 p.m. Attorney Ferrullo once again.
Good morning again, Chairwoman Joyce, members of the board, Attorney Green. Interesting background to this. Il Panino, Palmetto, as we call it, Il Panino Inc., is in its 37th year. Frank DePasquale, who I think is someone that the board knows from the number of restaurants that he operates in the city and has operated for a number of years. This was his first food service business. It was a sandwich shop. And it was in those days when he took it over, what I would call an old-fashioned sandwich shop, only open for a couple hours during the afternoon. Frank reinvented that into a very Italian concepted sandwich shop that he called Il Panino, Italian for sandwich, bringing menu items from Italy that he was familiar with that have now become a staple in many other restaurants. Probably the first chicken parm sandwich served 37 years ago. Since that time, the restaurant has expanded from a sandwich shop into a trattoria. Again, the concept that Frank brought from Italy, which is what we would call a more informal Italian food service, comfortable, neighborhood-oriented type of restaurant, and that operates on 2 floors within the building and an area that's called the Garden, which is adjacent to the public library. It's a tented outdoor patio that we have lease space from the Boston Public Library for a number of years, which is extremely popular during the summer and the winter. This restaurant has had beer, wine, and cordial service. We believe that as an applicant with the history that this restaurant's had, we've never had a violation in this restaurant. Frank's been his first management scenario is at this restaurant, and since then has expanded considerably with various Italian foods throughout the neighborhood. Again, what happens in restaurants today is that in order to be in business for 37 years, you have to be innovative, you have to change up your menu, you have to offer different things so that people continue to come to your restaurant and you can continue to employ the people that you do. We think the addition of an all alcohol license would do exactly that. I think it's a traditional restaurant in this neighborhood. It's been supported by the community, the neighborhood groups, and as mentioned before, our elected state representative is also in support of having this restaurant receive an all alcohol license. Mr. DePasquale is on the call somewhere, and he or I will answer your questions as well.
Thank you for joining us. Just want to get on the record again as a standalone question. Can you describe the public need for an all alcohol license here?
The public need issue, as mentioned, is that this restaurant has been both innovative in its concept since it started 37 years ago. Wants to continue that, wants to continue the history of this trattoria by managing it in such a way to serve the public. We commonly, and Mr. DePasquale will tell you, we commonly have people, coming in, especially during the summer months when we have tourists, at a height in this neighborhood because they want to sit out in the garden area. And will frequently leave knowing that they can't get the particular type of cocktail that they desire because they can go elsewhere for that. I think being able to serve that need and again, distinguishing one restaurant from another is exactly that, is that people go to dine at a particular restaurant for a variety of reasons, but they don't usually split their evening, drinking at one establishment and then eating at another. And we think that would serve the public need if we were able to provide those cocktails.
And what would the plan be for your current beer and wine license? What would you do with it?
We would be willing to surrender it to the city.
Okay. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Not at this time. Thank you.
None for me, thank you.
Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time, the Mayor's Office is to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information on the community process. ONS had hosted a butters meeting on September 18th. I understand no concerns were raised in that meeting. The applicant went on to connect with the two active civic associations, New Ra and New Nick. Both were supportive of this proposal. With that, we'll defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Any further questions from the board? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 15, SMG Newbury Restaurant LLC, doing business as Serafina, located at 235A Newbury Street, has applied for a common victualler 7-day all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised on the above in one room on lower level of 235A Newbury Street, also known as 36 to 38 Fairfield Street, with a bar, kitchen, and storage area connected to a seasonal April to October outdoor patio on private property with 50 seats. Indoor closing hour 1 a.m., outdoor closing hour 10 p.m. Manager Brian Sayers. Closing time 1 a.m. Attorney Bill Ferrullo. Attorney Ferrullo.
Good morning once again, Chairman Joyce, members of the board, Attorney Green. Brian Sayre, the proposed manager, is with us today. This restaurant is Serafina on Newbury. Serafina on Newbury's been in this location for 7 years. Prior to that, a principally takeout establishment was there by the name of Scoozy. The owner operators took over the premises, expanded it by one level. This used to be a basement level restaurant. It's now above ground, as well as the basement level with an outdoor dining space. We are a fine dining Italian restaurant. The Serafina brand is actually an international known name, which operates in Boston here in at Seaport. We are seeking an all alcohol license to complement the type of business that this is in terms of fine dining on Newbury Street. I don't have to tell this board, Newbury Street is not only very active, but also a very expensive proposition to operate a fine dining restaurant. There is one other all alcohol license in this block. There are a number of other fast food service restaurants in this block, but the difference with the restaurant that we operate, I think, is the level of service that we provide as compared to another restaurant that I'm not diminishing them, but just saying it's a different type of service. It's a different type of clientele. Needless to say, we have been basically at a disadvantage, not being able to serve all alcohol at this location. It's very, popular walking area, very popular area for tourists as well as locals. I think one of the few times you will see we have the support of the Neighborhood Association in Back Bay, and that's primarily is that we've agreed that our outdoor patio, which currently closes at 11, will close at 10 if we are able to secure the license, because we want it to be good neighborly in that particular neighborhood. We think our operation has been impeccable with this board. We haven't had any issues before the board, and I think we get nothing but compliments in the neighborhood itself. Mr. Sayers has extensive experience in the business, which you'll hear from him since, I believe, 2013. He will be the new manager of this premises as the current manager is moving on. With that, I will, take any questions the board has for us.
Thank you very much.
I have a question, if I may.
I'm gonna just finish my questions first, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, not at all.
Is Mr. Sayers already an approved manager record by this board? I know he's familiar to us, but are you approved at this location or in Boston?
He is not. He is on to answer your questions with regard to his background.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you, Mr. Sayers. Are you a citizen?
Yes.
Are you a resident of Massachusetts?
Yes.
What is your experience in the food and beverage industry?
I've been with Serafina as the Director of Operations and General Manager of our locations. I've also been working in the food and beverage industry for the past 20 years.
Okay. And are you familiar with the rules and regulations of this board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth pertaining to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I don't have any questions. I might have some afterwards, but I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Curran.
Yeah, I might have questions after comments, but nothing right now. Thank you.
Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time the Mayor's Office did defer to the judgment of this board. ONS had held an abutters meeting on October 7th. The applicant met with NAB. There were some questions about whether this would be a new city-issued alcohol license or this would be purchased from another facility, and what was the public need of that. Ultimately, NAB ended up sending a letter of non-opposition stating that they'd like to see the outdoor patio have a closing time of 10 o'clock. With that, we'll defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Miss, yeah, there we go.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I was asking at the right time. Okay, I'm just, does Serafina's outdoor close at 11 right now? Is that what you're saying? The
That's
outdoor patio?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And the new one is going to close at 10, but I have some concerns, just the private patio that they're discussing, is that on the street side or is it on the back side? Like there's
okay. There's only one patio.
Okay, so it's going to be on the street side. It's not going to be on the alley side of the buildings.
No. It's what exists today. Nothing about the application changes other than what exists today.
Okay, my only concern is the need for the restaurant to be, or rather the bar part to be open till 1 a.m. when that is sort of in a residential area. I just have some concerns that that's kind of late for people leaving, because when they leave, they'll be making a lot of noise. I understand it may be being open that late on the weekends, Friday or Saturday, or if there's a holiday or something, but I just have some concerns because there are residential, and as far as the abutters meeting, my property abuts this property and I have never received anything. I just happened to get this. So I was not included in that abutters meeting of October 7th. I did not get notification for that. I get notifications for stuff happening on Boylston Street, but not next door a lot of times. So I don't know why that happened. But my just concern is it being open so late. I don't understand why it needs to be open till 1 a.m. There are residents on Commonwealth Avenue. There are residents on Newbury Street. I just am concerned that people leaving at that late an hour during the week, that would disturb other people, my tenants, for example, that are, trying to sleep or whatever. So that's one of my concerns.
Thank you.
Elaine.
That's all I want to say.
Elaine, if I may, I'm the manager at Serafina.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Our hours are not going to be changing. Nothing about the restaurant is going to be changing. We only want to offer the full alcohol license to complement our dinner guests. We're not turning into a bar. So our current closing hours on Friday and Saturday are 11 p.m. and Sunday through Thursday, it's 10 p.m. And there's no plans to change that.
Okay, because here it says closing time 1 a.m.
I know our liquor license allows us to close at 1 a.m., but our business hours are going to stay the same.
Okay, all right. That was really my only concern. I have no problem with Serafina's. The food's great. I just don't want there to be a lot of problems for my tenants later on. Okay,
No,
thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Any further questions from the board? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And calling item number 16, Nightlife Cafe LLC, doing business as 89 Charles, located at 89 Charles Street, has applied for a common victular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license to be exercised on the above 850 square feet of restaurant space on lower level, 2 means of egress, one in the front and one in the back. Manager Gennaro Riccio, closing time 12 a.m. Attorney Elizabeth Pisano. Attorney Pisano.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Elizabeth Pisano from Upton, Connell, and Devlin. On behalf of the applicant, Nightlight Cafe, LLC. With me today is Gennaro Riccio. He is the proposed manager of record and sole owner. This application is for a new Section 12 all alcoholic beverages license for his restaurant located at 89 Charles Street. The city's recent decision to grant new all alcohol licenses provides a unique chance for Beacon Hill residents and restaurants to compete on equal footing with others in Boston. Many other restaurants across the city are taking advantage of this opportunity, and granting this license would allow Gennaro to keep pace and stay competitive in a crowded market, would support a small business and a Boston native. It would help him grow his business without the high upfront costs usually associated with an all alcohol license on the open market. As you know, the restaurant industry is extremely competitive and the return on investment can frequently be low. Last year, Gennaro made the decision to invest in a beer and wine and cordials license for this location, knowing that alcohol sales are crucial to survival, especially in a small restaurant space with 10 to 12 tables. But unfortunately, the average cost of a $600,000 all alcohol license was just not feasible at that time. 89 Charles Street is an expensive part of Beacon Hill to do business. The difference between a beer and wine and an all alcohol is substantial when it comes to the margins. And an operator can make more money with an all alcohol license. It also draws more people into the restaurant by offering patrons a full range of beverage options that align with a high quality modern restaurant experience, while simultaneously increases the volume of its income. We really want this restaurant to be a success in Beacon Hill and create a comfortable and curated atmosphere that both neighbors and visitors will want to return for weeknight meals, cocktails, or special occasions. An all alcohol license would allow unique, high quality craft cocktails that align with the upscale historic charm of Beacon Hill. The restaurant can add value to this community by enhancing the social and culinary landscape and reinforcing the neighborhood's reputation as a destination for both locals and tourists. It's a small 800 square foot restaurant space, like I said, with 10 to 12 tables, and the longevity of these types of restaurant survival is strongly dependent on an enhanced menu. We were before you about a year ago for their beer, wine, and cordials license application, where I had presented their concept of featuring small tapas, raw bar items, and handcrafted cocktails. But I do just want to get into the public need for a full alcohol license. Patrons expect expect a full service bar at restaurants, especially those looking for a diverse dining experience. Offering cocktails that have all types of alcohol can meet the demand and improve customer satisfaction, and encourages repeat business for locals, which is actually really, really crucial to Gennaro's business plan. There are a lot of locals who have been in Beacon Hill forever, and on those slow nights, it would be amazing to have those residents come in for dinner and a drink after work. So it is really crucial to get those repeat business customers. And Gennaro has witnessed firsthand at Cafe Amaro in the North End, where he has a beer, wine, and cordials license, that customers are frequently, pretty much daily, requesting cocktails that are made with specific vodkas, tequilas, and gins that he just can't provide. And the upsetting reactions that the servers experience, he anticipates the same type of request, especially on Beacon Hill. I I will go into this again, but Gennaro is born and raised in Boston. He's grown up in the restaurant industry and has over 15 years of experience. He's the owner of Florentine Cafe and Cafe Amaro, two successful family establishments in the North End that have not had any issues in the past. We truly believe Gennaro is a perfect candidate for a non-restricted all alcohol license, and his business goals align with the city's goals to increase equitable access to liquor licenses to aim and boost local businesses. An upgrade would really help support his small business in providing fuller competitive services. Gennaro has worked his entire life to get to this point of opening up his very own location in Beacon Hill, separate from his family. And it's been a lifelong goal of his. And he truly understands the value, privilege, and the great opportunity this license would provide him and contribute to his overall success. And again, for the record, he is already the approved manager here. He's a Massachusetts resident, U.S. citizen, and is familiar with the rules and regulations relating to the sale of alcohol. We held an abutters meeting on October 29th. We did not have any objections. And we met with the Beacon Hill Civic Association on November 6th, where we received a majority vote of 9-2 non-opposition. And we want to thank you for your time and opportunity to present this application, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Sorry, that was long.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit, what is your timetable for opening up at this location? Because you haven't opened up yet, correct?
Right. So we're on track to open beginning of the new year. Gennaro had a setback with a contractor. There was an issue with the contractor basically backing out, and it caused him a lot of delay, but he is on track for opening in the beginning of the new year.
Okay. And remind me again, how many seats here?
We expect 34 seats.
And your plans, should you be granted an all alcohol license, what are your plans for the beer and wine?
We will turn in our beer, wine, and cordials.
Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
I might after comments, but not at the moment. Thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes. Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, the Mayor's Office would like to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information in the community process. As you heard from the applicant's representation, a butters meeting was held on October 29th. There were no concerns raised in that meeting. The applicant met with the Beacon Hill Civic Association. Their zoning and licensing committee voted non-opposition regarding the proposal. I understand that last night, the Beacon Hill Civic Association's board of directors motioned to table this proposal. I guess they're still working with the applicant and not seeing eye to eye on a restriction that food must be served with alcohol. With that information, we'll defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
If you don't mind, can I just respond to that really quickly? I was unaware of that from Beacon Hill. We did, at the end of our meeting, come to an agreement that we would accept any good neighbor agreement proposal that they had. We did state that we were very open to any suggestions. We understand that they have some sort of agreement like that with Toscano. And I was just waiting for an agreement from one of the members of Beacon Hill to send over, really. We're open to anything. I just want to state that again for the record.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Any further questions from the board? The board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Those are all the items before the board this morning. The board will convene to vote tomorrow morning at 10:30 rather than the usual 10 a.m. time. Notice has been posted to the city's website that will adjourn this morning's hearing. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.